Coding Made Easy.
So what's up everybody, this is Peter aka Coding Made Easy coming to you guys with another update. This update is this is my 5th time making it. I feel like I've been too harsh the past 4 times, so I'm gonna try to make it sound less harsh. But anyways, this video is about explaining that I'm thinking of like canceling all my game development tutorials, so my RPG, platformer, any shooters, anything I was thinking of doing. I'm thinking of canceling them altogether and not doing them. And the reason why is, without trying to sound mean, is that not everybody, but I've noticed a lot of you guys have become lazy programmers, and you are trying to get me to think for you instead of you thinking for yourself and problem solving, which is what programming is supposed to be, right? And what I mean by that is this: every day, I mean every day, there's no skipping of days. Literally every day I get a message, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitter, whether it be my email, something. I always get a message regarding one of my game development tutorials, and it's always grouped into two types of people, and the first type is the people who are doing their final project and they probably slacked off in school or blah blah, or they have no idea what to do and they just want to whip up a game, so they try to follow my platform tutorials and try to copy word for word. And you got the next group, or people who are complete beginners and are trying to say learn C++ and HTML and how to make a platformer all in one, right? Or beginners in a certain language, or beginners to programming altogether. And I got those two main groups of people sending me messages every single day. And don't get me wrong, I love to help. But a lot of the questions I'm getting are like, it's coming to the point where it's becoming annoying, and that's not a good feeling, and it's not really motivating me to really want to make more game development tutorials. What do I mean? I get questions that can easily be Googled. Some questions can easily be Googled, but for some reason, I have people asking me simple questions they could find out in 2 to 5 seconds. They feel the need to ask me, and it's nice. I love that. Like, you love to ask me questions and blah blah blah, but I cannot think for you. I cannot study for you. But I have some people asking me asking me if it's possible to do certain things. Like, I've had people ask me, is it possible to do this in SFML? Did you search Google? No. So why are you asking me, right? I've had people ask, if I change this, what will happen? Why are you asking me? Why not try it and see what's gonna happen, you know? And it's coming to the point where I'm getting so many people like wanting me to think for them, that you're not becoming better programmers. And if you're not becoming better programmers, I'm not doing my job, right? And I'm seeing this immensely with the game development tutorials, because with the game development tutorials, it's more than, say, C++ a pointer tutorial where it's like a mini example and you learn pointers or blah blah, or you learn how to create a function. There's a whole like big thing of code that all interacts with each other. And so if somebody misses something, or like they put in a wrong variable or something, a lot of people come to me with code and they're like, oh, I copied it correctly, blah blah, but it's not working. And I asked, did you debug it? And some of them say yes, some people say no. And I say, well, did you debug it well? Because like, there's a difference between just like stepping through your code and actually knowing how to debug well. And I've noticed that a lot of you don't know how to debug well, and a lot of you don't understand certain problems or certain like crashes happening in your program. I can't even count on my hands and feet the amount of time I've gotten messages about like null exceptions or Stack Overflow exceptions, things that you should have, problems you should have ran into when you were learning the language. And so it's evident to me that you have no idea what's going on and that you're just copying it word for word. And so when it comes to the point where you want to add something new, I've had people say, "Oh, I've done your platformer series. How do I add bullets? How do I add certain things? How do I make enemies do that?" And it just shows that you don't know. You didn't grasp anything from my tutorial. You didn't see how certain things were put together. You kind of just want me to tell you how to do it, and you don't want to sit down and think and say, okay, I've learned how to do this and that, and I want to implement bullets, so I know that I might have to use a vector, or maybe I have to use a list of bullets, or blah blah blah. Nobody really thinks. The first thing people think to do is go ask CodingMadeEasy, go ask CodingMadeEasy, go ask him. And so I feel like I'm not helping you. I'm basically, I'm not doing a service to you. What I'm actually doing is depriving you from actually educating yourself. And so what I'm thinking of doing is going back to tutorials where it's just the basics of frameworks or the basics of languages. So like C++ made easy, teaching the basics of C++, and then like SFML made easy, or SDL made easy, or XNA made easy, or monogame made easy, like the bare bones, and then making you have to figure out how to put code together, right? And it's not impossible. It is hard, right? It is hard when you're learning and you're a beginner and you really want to get something on the screen, but it is an essential part. You learn better instead of having to rely on me for every single thing you do. And it will help you, I promise you, it will help you out when you actually get into the programming world, right? When I go to work, right, there's nobody at work that says, hey, Peter, we want you to do A, right? And this is how you do it. You watch this tutorial, read this book, and it'll tell you how to put it all together. No, they say do this task and do well, right? Obviously they're nice about it, but like it's kind of like do this task and use the knowledge you know of programming to get it done. And like a lot of people try to ask how to do specific things, right? But like at Ubisoft, we have a bunch of internal tools, right? So there's no way I can go on Google and say, how do you do this in a specific engine? How do you do this in a specific tool? I can't, because there's nothing online because it's an internal tool. So the only resources I have to figure out what this code does or figure out why this code crashes is the internal documentation, if the documentation is good, right? Or I have to step through the code and figure out what the code does and figure out why it's doing what it's doing. And 99% of the time, that's what you're going to be doing as programmers. And so I'm not feeling like you guys are really getting it. I made a debugging made easy tutorial series. A lot of people haven't watched it. I refer it to people, and people still come to me with simple errors, the same simple errors over and over. It just becomes evident to me that I am, like, you are making me your brain, especially for the game development tutorials. So I'm thinking of just, scrapping the game development tutorials, going to the bare bones. And if you want to make a game from ground up, you gotta actually think for yourselves, right, and figuring it out. And if you have a particular problem while doing the game, then feel free to message me. If you're saying, hey, I'm trying to implement this bullet system, but my bullet class, I feel like I'm missing something, or I want you to review it to make sure it's good, by all means, I'm happy to do that. But I'm not happy to be your brain. I don't want to think for you. I want you guys to be better, and me thinking for you is not going to make you better. But anyways, that's just how I feel. If you guys feel differently, you can always comment below. I'm open-minded. If you hate me for writing this, or you're pissed off, tell me you're pissed. I don't care. I'm a man. I can handle it. But that's exactly how I feel. And yeah, if I change my mind, I'll let you know. But for now, I won't be making any game development tutorials. I'll just be focusing on the bare bone basics. Thanks, and bye for now.